I do not support the idea of flippant gratitude or overly optimistic attitudes to the point where it's too much, right? It's like you're not appreciating the painful parts just because you're so focused on making everything be happy and frolicky and butterflies. Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. It's Thanksgiving time. And yes, we're in the middle of 2020, the year that has kind of become its own phrase that you can use as far as negativity and horrible bad things happening. So what's with Thanksgiving kind of at the end of this year as we're reflecting on all the things that have happened with the pandemic, so many other tragic events that have transpired across the globe, and what gives? I have a different relationship with gratitude. So as you may know, I'm an artist and I love to draw, especially from real life. One of the things that we did in college was, as we were studying art and drawing, these drawing classes, they would set up something in the middle of the classroom and you choose a position so that you could draw whatever they've put together. And usually this was a compilation of kind of strange objects, kind of even ordinary objects like drapes. And a lot of this stuff was honestly kind of junky, or it doesn't make any sense, together. There's no point of it. The point was just to draw things. So we were looking at these objects that could easily be ignored on a day-to-day basis. But when you sit there and you're drawing them, you start noticing, how does the light affect this object? Is there texture? What's about this object that makes it visually different than another object? Why do I know that if I draw it this way that you'll know that it's a bottle versus a drape? So fast forward, I go to Switzerland for study abroad, and we're encouraged to draw things that we see as we're going about our day and as we're exploring towns and these amazing cities. And I really took that to heart. Like I said, I really love drawing from life, and I was able to see this architecture that was not as familiar to me. There was very ancient objects that were still preserved on the streets. There are fountains, things I've never seen before in my corner of the US. So when I would take the time to sit down while we were waiting for the train or something and draw just little details, like maybe a window or maybe a big monument that we've visited, I was able to appreciate the vast detail that objects in our world have. And there are things that we see all the time that go unnoticed because we have no reason to pay them any attention. Our brain likes to filter out stuff that we don't need to know about. But when you take the time to look at an object or anything, a scenery, some people, it increases the value that you can perceive. And I think that's the same thing that we can do with even some of the hardest things in our lives. And I do not support the idea of flippant gratitude or overly optimistic attitudes to the point where it's too much, right? It's like you're not appreciating the painful parts just because you're so focused on making everything be happy and frolicky and butterflies, right? I really am averse to that attitude. So the word appreciate, right? We use that in context of gratitude. I really appreciate what you did. What does that mean? Yes, of course it means an expression of gratitude, but it also means growing in value. Something that either had value before or maybe it didn't even have value to us. As it appreciates, it grows in its value, in its perceived value, in its actual value. And I find that really fascinating. It's just like looking at those objects that I drew in college they were pointless, right? They were meaningless to me. I didn't own them. I had nothing to do with them, except I was taking a lot of time, a whole hour at least, just to draw this little scene of objects that don't apply to me. And yet it creates something beautiful. I even find beauty in some of the sketches that are unfinished, that have zero detail or crafting value to these pictures, but that represents a time that I dedicated to appreciating an object or something, a scene that before I had no concept of. And I think that can be really powerful for us. Like I said earlier, we're in the year 2020. It's been a rough year for basically everybody. I don't know anybody who hasn't been somehow affected by this year, but I think that we can take the time to think about and appreciate, give more value to those things that maybe previously had gone unnoticed. We can appreciate the things that we have that have brought us together. We can appreciate the relationships that we have. We can appreciate the time that we have to improve ourselves, to look for new perspectives, to help people. There's so many things that we can look for that tend to go unnoticed as we're just kind of going throughout our day. So the challenge for this video is to find something ordinary or something that typically goes unnoticed and give it some value, give it some appreciation. And I hope that that's mostly with people. I hope that you can find people that maybe you have neglected to express your love to. I hope that you can find people that need help and you can help them in some way. So take that opportunity to give thanks and make it meaningful, make it something that you feel, and give that value to those things that go unnoticed, especially the lonely, the brokenhearted, and the people that are suffering. So there's your challenge. I hope that you stay safe, and we will see you on the next video. Thank you so much for watching.